Well, hi there, YouTube. Welcome to the Stratosphere Studio. I'm your host, Bill Whittle. It is the 18th of November, and we're just waiting for our Buckaroo Banzai to wrap up on the Twitch side. We'll bring our Twitch friends in. We'll get this puppy rolling here. Hope everybody's doing well. Good to be here. A little chilly in the studio today, actually. I need to get Captain James T. Kirk of Starship Enterprise to get his phaser out, and I also need a large boulder, apparently. Yeah, so the show was a little iffy tonight, but turned out here we are. So again, they're just wrapping up on the other side. So let me bring those chaps over here. All right, looks like that'll do it. Hi Twitch, welcome to the Stratosphere Lounge. Already in progress with our friends over at YouTube. We've been talking for the last I don't know, hour and a half, something like that. No, we just brought them in. Hope everybody's doing well. Mark Robinson says, I'm glad that your eye is okay. So I had a fun little adventure last night. Does Bill read the chat? Bill glances at the chat, Ryan. Most of the stuff I miss. Every now and then I'll just glance over and I'll see something and it gets my attention. And sometimes I follow it down. Mostly it's like Eric Blake likes to say, oh, look, a squirrel. And it pulls me completely off my stream for a while. So we got our YouTube analytics, and compared to this time, it's a 28-day analytic, and compared to the previous analytic, our viewership is up by 163%. So how about that? Steve Young on the Twitch stream wants to know who popped me on the lip. Skin cancer did. It popped me right smack on the lip is what it did. And it put a dime size discoloration there that was there for a while. And I had, I get checked every 6 months with a dermatologist. And after 3 or 4 visits, where I finally just called the guy up and said, "Do you want to take a look at this again, please?" This is not going away. Oh yeah, we'll do some biopsies. So then we did some biopsies, and turned out, yeah, it was almost about the size of my thumbprint. So they had to do a Mohs procedure where they basically scoop it out, and then they send the stuff out for immediate stuff on the lab. So you're just lying there basically with a big hole in your lip. And then they find out that when they keep scooping, when they get samples that don't have any skin cancer cells in them, they figure they got it all. So they had to stitch it up tight, and it didn't quite match. So it was either that or a fencing accident. I'm going to go with a fencing accident from now on. So anyway, just so the show was a little iffy tonight about whether we could make it or not. I was in here last night working on the hot mic for Tulsi Gabbard versus Avril Haines. Had a lot of videos in it. Hello, Croatia. Sorry, sometimes it's in caps. That kind of helps. By the way, my vision's a little blurry for reasons I'll explain in a minute. But hello, cheers, Nick. Hello from Croatia, Bill. European Dudes for Whittle 2024. You're a fine fellow. Thank you very much. Welcome. Welcome to the small Los Angeles corner part of the internet. So anyway, I was in here last night at about 10:30, and I was just putting in the last of the pictures and just did a lot of concentrating on just tedious work in Photoshop, just getting everything formatted. Probably formatted 60 pictures, something like that. And I was just dragging these pictures into Photoshop and cropping them and stuff. And some smuts in my lower lip. Oh, is that what it is? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about this. Yeah, that's probably it's either Oreo cookies or I couldn't see it with the camera there. I think we got it. Thank you. I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about this. Anyway, so back to fourth pass on the story. So there I was sitting there last night, right in this very chair, and I'm nothing unusual happened. This really surprised the ophthalmologist. No sudden motions of the head. Nobody snuck up behind me, hit me on the head with a baseball bat. I'm just dragging file in and out of Photoshop, and all of a sudden I feel this kind of, whoa, that's a little weird. And I look down to the left, and in my left eye, there's like a little wavy curtain, and everything below that was black. And I thought, well, that's just not good. So I thought, okay, well, so I got up and started walking around. And as I started walking around, that black curtain just started to disappear. It ended up, this black curtain went away, and but the focus in my left eye was way off, and I could feel something. The eye felt different. It didn't hurt, but it felt different. So I thought, well, that doesn't sound good. That could have been a retinal detach or something. So I went home, took it easy, went to sleep because it was 11 o'clock. I wasn't about to go to the emergency room, especially after that last experience in the emergency room. Went home, got up this morning, got stuff done, and I was waiting to get into to see our regular ophthalmologist, and finally just didn't hear back from him. So I just did a Google search, and they said, "Come on in." So I went in, and they dilated my eyes, and then then the scanner, the technology they've got now is unbelievable, really. Just put your chin on this thing, and you're looking at this little blue cross, and this little red laser line goes down, and you're just standing there. It's absolutely painless, obviously, and it's doing it's almost like a sonogram of the back of your retina. It's just measuring it looks exactly, the output looks exactly like a sonar image of the bottom of the ocean. And it's taking a look at the bottom of your eye there and stuff. So we did all that imaging, and then the doctor came in, and real nice guy, young guy, and he said, "Look, here's a little bit of your I forget the term for the viscous liquid jelly that's inside your eye." But he said it looks like it was almost detached here, but it's not detached. Your retina is certainly not detached, and the jelly can detach from the inside of the retina, which is not nearly as bad as pulling the retina off the outside of the world, off the outside of the eye. But he said, but it didn't detach. It's not that. I said, well, that sounds good. He said, yeah, it's real good. He said, you sure you didn't get hit or anything? And I said, no. He says, well, it's weird. He says, I would like to go ahead and do the eye juice. That's exactly right. Vitreous humor, I guess. Anyway, the eye juice. So there's no damage to the retina, no damage to the eye juice. He said, but I think to due diligence, we need to do a test on your blood flow. Yeah, exactly. Lapka says your eyes are so dark. How do they get it? How can they tell if it's dilated? He's got dark eyes. He's got eyes like a shark. It's like a dark eyes, like a doll's eyes. They give me an intravenous shot of this stuff. Is just bright red, looked exactly like maraschino stuff that you put into a Shirley Temple. And then I'm looking inside this machine, and I'm getting this whole laser show of lights and all this stuff. Look up, look left, upper left, down left, all this stuff. They're taking all these pictures of my eyes. And then I go back in again to the examination room. They bring in the second set of pictures after the first set of pictures. And the guy says, well, your blood flow pattern, I forget the word for that. Dr. Bios, Lord Bios is here. You may know what it's a word for blood flow. He says, well, we just took a look at your blood flow, and it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. For a guy your age, it's almost amazing. They see this Christmas-like display of all these little, mosaics of blood flow, and it looks like a tree in winter. And he said, here's your right eye, here's your left eye. And it says, we can look a little deeper, not circulation. It's something plasto or once I saw the word, I could deconstruct it. I knew what the Latin was, but I just plain forgot. That wasn't muscle juice either, Dave. But anyway, yeah, well, it's a word that would mean hemodynamics, but it wasn't hemodynamics. It was I think it was the same root as phlebotomist and phlebotomy. In any event, it's your blood circulation in your back of your eye. And he said, it's perfect. You sure you didn't get hit in the eye with a baseball or something? I said, no, I'm almost positive I would have remembered that. He said, I don't know what to tell you. I got my card here, and you can call me if it happens again. Perfusion, yes, thank you. MD Prepper rather. Perfusion, thank you very much. Hooray. My perfusion, he says, your perfusion is excellent. I thought, I would have thought perfusion was I said, does that mean, he says, your perfusion's, you're looking at your perfusion here, it looks good. I said, is that leakage perfusion? He said, no, it's your blood circulation, blood flow. So as David Booty says, I set the ocular SCE to auxiliary, and next thing you know, I'm doing fine. I said, well, I just might have been just a cosmic ray or something. He says, yeah. Well, have you come back in a month? We'll take a look again. But I can't find any damage. He said what it sounds like was that there was a brief interruption of the blood flow in your left eye. And whatever it was, you healed it pretty quick, because it usually doesn't just go away, but you said it just went away in 60 seconds. I said, yep. And I came out of it like Mr. Burns, immortal, immortal, I'm going to live forever. Struck by reality, yeah, something like that. Yeah, anyway, so, once again, I come back from getting a couple tests, and it just couldn't be better news, so I was real happy about that. Absolutely happy about that. I need some new glasses prescriptions, but that's to be expected. So I don't think. Yes, he's Superman. It's like I'm like Mr. Burns. I have every single illness known to man, and they perfectly balance each other out. All of them are trying to get into the body at the same time, and it causes this jam. And immortal. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I'm doing fine. So that was a relief, because, to be honest with you, for the last almost 24 hours, I was thinking, I don't want to have. I mean, it's not. I'm not so much worried about the surgery. And I'm not worried about the surgery. And I'm not worried about hurting on recovery. It just would take a lot of time if it was a detached retina. They had to do surgery, and so, yeah. Oh, Eric Blake says, just disappointed your eye isn't green. So what's interesting is the stuff they shot into my vein was red. When they were doing the test, I was seeing green, and I don't want to be any more vulgar than I possibly could avoid being on this, but I just got back from a quick trip to the restroom before we started rolling. And it was like like peeing sunshine. It was the most beautiful golden yellow color I've ever seen in my life. It was almost alive. Well, it probably was alive. It's probably radioactive. Who knows? But I recommend it. I think you should just do it recreationally, because it was like, wow, really, really something. Anyway, that's lost to history now. I am going to try and keep it short tonight, though, because here's a Kobo Bunny music says, "Hey, Bill Whittle, what's the subject of your live stream tonight?" We never know. On Monday nights, we talk about pop culture questions and filmmaking and stuff like that. On Thursday nights, we generally try to keep it to politics. There's always a lot of crossover, but generally speaking, tonight is pop culture night. So we're going to go to questions. I do want to keep it relatively brief, because I have had a bunch of eye drops. It's hard for me to read the screen, and so even with the glasses on, not these glasses, my driving glasses. Even with the glasses on, it's a little tough tonight. So I think we'll try and keep this one short. I am got a problem with being able to post to the website. So I'm tomorrow. I've already put it up, but I can look at the website, and I can, when I try to post a new link, a new entry, it just plain says goes to a white screen. So I have to pick up. I've been putting this off for a while. I had a guy who I hired on Fiverr, on online work thing, to help me with redesigning the new website and getting the new website set up. But what I really need is a specialist company that I will hire for maintenance to make sure that the membership stuff is constantly working. Yeah, it's just not giving me anything. It just goes to a white screen. So content keeps coming, but the website is a little behind. But we did get to the forum questions, so we've got those. And I think since nothing really comes to mind, I was a little occupied yesterday and today, pretty much. So I think we'll just jump into the questions and call it a short show for the night, because eyes are a little bit sore. They went poking around on the surface of your eye, and it's starting, and the numbing drops they gave me started to wear off a little bit. So yeah. Anyway, here's our questions curated by our friend Ray Juarez. Thank you very much, Ray. Appreciate that very much. So we got a new hot mic out about the candidates, Tulsi Gabbard versus Avril Gaines, in this case, incoming and outgoing directors of national intelligence, and I've decided I'm going to do a series of 6 or 7 of those. The thing's not doing crazy out of the park business, but I would like to, like I said, analytics on YouTube said in the last 28 days we have 165% of what we saw in the previous 28 days. So that's a big number. That's a huge. It's not a 20% increase or a 65% increase. It's a 165% increase. So obviously a lot of that is lead up to the election, but I really want to keep those numbers going. I want to keep them going. So we will see. Barbara says, once you get one ocular migraine, expect to get another, as long as it goes away. Yeah. Well, I will look up. In fact, I'll do it right now because I have a tendency to forget these things. Ocular migraine doesn't hurt. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything. I didn't feel anything. Now that electrical field disturbance thing. I used to get that quite a lot when I was much younger because my blood sugar was all over the place. I was working as a limo driver and I was living on Butterfingers, so it's probably not the best, things to do. But we'll come back to that. All right, let's see what we got here. So Ray Juarez, hi Bill. Just wanted to ask, are you still willing to do college talks? My college is a smaller venue, has a Turning Point group, is largely conservative. Love to hear you talk in person. Hope you have a great night. Yeah, I would I think I could probably do a college again. I'd certainly be more willing to do one than I would have been several years ago. And by the way, this would be a fun thing to talk about, which kind of teed me off on this topic. So obviously we've been watching for the last 2 weeks now. The election will be 2 weeks tomorrow. And everybody's been watching all the liberals melting down on YouTube and all of the weeping and the crying and the cursing and the threats and the 4B movement and the, just losing their minds, just completely losing their minds. But this thing kind of shifted about 2-3 days ago. And what it shifted into was into videos that were celebrating the win. This YMCA thing, when Donald Trump first did that kind of dance to the YMCA thing, I was a little bit mortified. It was like, it's just kind of like old white guy dancing. But now everybody's doing it. They're doing it in the NFL. They're doing it in college football games, and now I'm loving it. They're playing. Who would have thought that the theme for the MAGA movement would have been YMCA by the Village People? But then I realized, no, there's something really, really, really beautiful about this. Really beautiful about it being YMCA. First of all, it's nice to fly right in the face of being the party of homophobes, misogynists, racist, Hitler, all the rest of it. Love the fact that the kind of the Trump the Trump celebrations theme song is probably the gayest song ever written. Um, I really like that, and I like how simple it is, and I like watching everybody just grooving on it. Plus, I've always just liked the song. I just always just thought the song was just made me happy to hear, you know. But watching all of these videos now, and all of these super hot girls, you know, um, you got the 4B progressive women with the nose rings and the green hair. We're going to shave our heads so that men don't, and we're not going to talk to men anymore. It's like, well, how will we possibly survive? Um, but um, but the celebratory stuff is just so much fun, and I really think that this is actually the biggest possible recruiting thing we could have. I think it's so important in terms of recruiting, um, because it's fun. And this is the thing that I hate the most about wokeism is not only is it invented, you know, is it not it's synthetic injustice. Not only is the whole woke premise pretty much largely invented. As I said on the Stratosphere Lounge, I think it was just a couple nights ago. The Black Lives Matter movement is about black men being shot by cops, but the total number of homicides on black people, black people who were killed by homicide, the number that was shot by policemen is 4%, and that includes when they open fire on policemen and the police shoot back and kill them. You know, it's not just like cops. It's not like 4% of black murders every year are cops just shooting down unarmed black people. That's just the total number of black people killed by cops, at least in the latest data we had, which I want to say was 218 or something like that. Um, but so I completely spaced on what the hell the point of all this was. Um, Boy, I mean, I really lost that train. Gone. It'll come back to me. Um, what the hell could I possibly have been talking about that for? All I remember talking about is this business about recruiting people and fun and woke and everything, and synthetic injustice. I got it back. So it's a form of synthetic injustice, and 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 nobody's allowed to have any fun because when the planet is dying and black people are being murdered in the streets by a white supremacist terror state of Nazis, that's kind of hard to relax. But now we're out there just playing YMCA and just dancing, having a blast, and watching all of these people say, Robert F. Kennedy is a freak. He's not qualified to be in charge of Health and Human Services. He has doubts about the vaccine. It's like, well, this is what you voted for. This is what we voted for. It's what the country voted for. So yeah, Eric's right. We're the cool kids now, and they're the dorks. And I love being the cool kids. I love it. 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 I love watching these dancing videos and just regular people. Come on in. Everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome here. We disagree about things if you want to. No one gets thrown out of the tent because they have a different opinion on global warming or even abortion, for that matter. It's just a group of people who mostly just want to be left alone to live their own lives and are happy and friendly and more than willing to be nice to people. More than willing to. We have nothing against trans people at all. I'm speaking for virtual majority of us in terms of saying, if you want to live your life as a woman or as a man, it's none of my damn business. But when you start reading to kids in drag, and kids cannot process drag because they don't and shouldn't be exposed to sexuality of any kind. Now we start to have problems. And when you demand your own language and that I learn your language and demand that I speak to you in your own language, now we also have a problem. But beyond that, knock yourself out. I don't care. That's why I love the YMCA thing. It's just so, I don't know. Plus, it's just so, it's so bloody simple. I mean, even an old overweight white billionaire can do it. Boom, boom, boom. I think it's just really cool. Marisha Dark says Trump is the most pro-gay, pro-abortion, pro-trans candidate the GAP ever had, and they're acting like he's to the right of Michael Knowles. Yeah. So anyway, that's just a lot of fun. As far as the actual question goes, if they want to call me, they can reach me at info@billwhittle.com. I will. It would depend on the college. I'm not going to Berkeley. I'm not super enthused about it either. Although I have spent the last several days thinking it'd be almost interesting to do something like if you do a college tour called Let's Be Friends. And just, I'd have to either drink heavily or Xanax up or something before I went, but basically just go in there with like a really positive attitude, like, hey, And if somebody comes up and asks questions and they're filled with all this hostility and rage, then I would just say, I'm just not taking your question. I'm not here to turn the temperature up. I'm here to cool things down. If you want to ask a question in a friendly way and discuss it in a friendly way and learn some things about what I believe, and I can learn some things about what you believe, that'd be fun. It's the Bill Whittle Nationwide Let's Be Friends tour. But, I'm not going to just sit there and have people unload, because I'm just not going to do that, Sorry if I'm having to get so close here. I still can't focus. Looks like Taras Shevchenko, with a super chat. Bit out of left field, Bill, but if someone were to do a proper film adaptation of Starship Troopers with power armor and drop pods, what style would best fit? Band of brothers in space, and who would you trust to direct? Well, that's a great question. And we'll come back to the questions, obviously, in the members only thing. Starship Troopers, the movie, which I kind of liked, actually. I liked the movie. I just didn't like the tone. So the Starship Troopers version that came out in was it 99 or something, with Casper Van Diem, and that was originally supposed to be just an alien monster movie, and I think this is what I'd heard, and I heard it a long time ago, but somebody had said that, hey, the name Starship Troopers from the Robert Heinlein thing is available. So they basically got the Starship Troopers thing, and then this butthead European director, was it Roland Emerson? I can't remember who the hell it was. Thought, okay, we're going to play this whole citizenship, service guaranteed citizenship thing. Paul Verhoeven, thanks. Yeah, so Robert Heinlein was very serious, deadly serious about this. He said the only people who are allowed to vote, should be allowed to vote, are the people who are ready to put their lives down on the line for the society. You can have rights and you can have all the rest of the things without being a veteran, but the only people who get to actually vote are veterans, because they're the only ones who've been willing to lie down and die for the state and the government. I thought now you can argue that both ways, but it is a cogent argument, and the way that Heinlein lays it out made me believe it when I read it. And I'm kind of fine with that. If you want to vote and you want to go get shot at, and then you get a chance to vote whether we get shot at in the future or not, that's great. And if not, if you don't want to get shot at, then you don't get to vote. Doesn't really matter too much, really, when you think about it. In a republic, if you lived in a republic where there was enforcement of the laws, then you wouldn't need a democracy at all. If you had a perfect republic that guaranteed all of your rights, kind of like the one we were handed, you don't even need the democracy, really, because what can you do except vote yourself out of legal protections? I'd much rather have a republic than a democracy. We live in a democratic republic, but of the two, I know which side I'd rather keep. And like I said, in a republic where your rights were guaranteed and the laws were enforced, all you could do with a democracy is make things worse. Anyway, I thought it was great, and the whole point of the troops in Starship Troopers were that they were mechanized infantry. They were guys in power suits, and Verhoeven's version had nothing to do with that. He just mocked it, ha 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 ha. The whole patriotism thing, thought it was hilarious, and the logo, that horrible looking jet thing, with a like the jet eagle head turned. My God, that was hideous. But that's what you get when you take a European intellectual and hand him a serious proposition that he looks down on and thinks is absurd, on its face. Verhoeven thought the whole thing was just ridiculous, when in point of fact, the whole concept goes right over Verhoeven's head. It just goes right over his head. He never even sits and thinks about the genius of what Heinlein was saying there. So if I did it again, I would go with a real realistic, super realistic view. And I wouldn't shoot it. I think you're right about the Band of Brothers thing. I wouldn't shoot it like a science fiction movie. I'd shoot it like a war movie. Because if you shoot it like a science fiction movie, then you fall in love with the suits, and you fall in love with the drop ships, and you just treat them differently than you would if it was just a C-47 or a Huey or something, Ideally, if you want to shoot a science fiction war movie, you shoot it like a war movie and let the science fiction part just fall where it falls, Just let it... just let these dropships come in, keep them in the background, keep them out of focus. Don't do these, these loving shots of the thing coming down on its thrusters. Just have it be in the background and lands and goes, and that kind of, transparency. That kind of just get away from the best. I think the secret to directing science fiction is to not treat it like it's science fiction. Is just to treat it like it's any other hardware, just don't fall in love with the effects and don't fall in love with the picture frame. Tell the human story and let the frame do the work. So that's what I would do in terms of directing it. I can't think of a whole lot of directors anymore, period, to be honest with you. But somebody gritty. Oh, hang on. What's his name? Yeah, Neil Blomkamp. District 9 was an astonishing movie. I think District 9 had the best special effects of any movie I've ever seen. But it couldn't get away from that whole, oh, look, it's a story about illegal immigrants, But it was beautifully directed and really gritty. If I could just basically purge all of the political correctness out of Neil Blomkamp, I would do it that way, because he does what I mentioned. He doesn't direct science fiction like it's science fiction. He just directs it like it's gritty and real. But man, that whole District 9 thing to me was just, which I thought was fantastic effects, incredible effects. But this whole poor displaced aliens, we've got no place to go, and look at how racist everybody is. Oh, look at the racism, look at the racism, look at the racism, look at the racism. It's like, come on, can we just get over this? Not enough of this, oh, humans are killer apes, oh, all the racism, oh, we live on a dying planet, we have to go live on Io because Earth is poisoned, come on. I mean, really, come on, just stop. It's played out is the best expression for it. It's just played out, is done to death. I've just seen it too many times. I'm sick of it. I have a small problem in the colonies where I've got this kind of wasteland power factory where our lead character needs to go before they move off-world. And I want it. It looks like it's like a desert, like really, really hot. But I'm reluctant to do anything that has the Earth getting warmer in the future. So I just want it to be cold, just to spite them. Just wrong again. So, we'll see. But that was something with that they couldn't avoid on the Expanse. They'd have all the sandbags around the edge of New York City because the water levels are rising, and go piss off. Sis off, pister. So anyway, here we go back to the questions. Okay, here we go. Eric Blake, we got a Jacob Belchuk. Only 3. That's good because my eyes are getting a little hurty. But I thought it'd be better to do one than nothing. So let's see what we got here. Eric Blake, tonight the case of the conspiracy conflict. Let me provide a solid dose of encouragement. Lately, you've expressed an increasing, let's say, lack of eagerness regarding your Down the Rabbit Hole project for Daily Wire. Most recently, you've wondered why you should dwell on the more negative content via debunking conspiracy theories instead of more positive content for more hopeful times. Well, Jeremy's good business sense aside, conspiracy debunking probably garners more interest than Navy talk. Sorry, it's true. Let me point out something I've seen. In my Walmart, there's a new special edition magazine on the shelves for the latest anniversary of the Jack the Ripper case. Yeah, but they don't want to touch Jack the Ripper. That's the entire purpose. That's what's got me concerned, is they want to do TikTok conspiracies. I skimmed through it, and lo and behold, the major usual suspects section, unless I missed something, there's no mention of our Charles Allen Cross, a.k.a. Lechmere. I don't know about you, Bill, but I'd say people would be really hungry for that little something more. I would love to do a special just on Jack the Ripper. We know who Jack the Ripper was, and his name was Charles Allen Lechmere. He was not one of the... in fact, we didn't even know it was him until 2002 or something. I don't want to get into that right now. So as one of your friends has been constantly pushing to make some official videos of the constant repeating debunking you do here, drink up some courage, purge all fear and concern, above all, take advantage of this especially fun opportunity to get our Mr. Boring to pay the bill. Well, that's what I'm going to be doing whether I like it or not. I still don't know what they want me to do, and this would be the first one that I didn't pitch, and that I wasn't like, hey, I can't wait to do this, because I was really, 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 really excited about doing the Navy, and it was done and then switched at the last minute. So if they have to tell me what to write about, then that's starting me at a disadvantage. But that's how it looks like it's going to go, so we'll find out soon enough, I guess. And then Jacob Belchuk. Hail, Bill. Hail, Jacob. One of the most frustrating things about our team's cultural position is our own timidity. Yes, that's one of the reasons why I like the YMCA dance so much. As the left has shoveled more identity politics and progressivism into their entertainment, our cry has been, stop putting politics in my entertainment. We allow our enemy to define the battle space. He makes a move, and we protest that move. Very rarely do we actually make a move and reply. Yes, and in armed conflict, this is called initiative. And it's, in my opinion, after morale, it is the second most important aspect of any conflict. I'd put morale first, and I'd put initiative second. However, if we try to retake the narrative ground and replace our message with theirs, I don't think we'll be successful. No, because nobody wants to be lectured to. They want to be entertained. But there's some good news in this. If I write a story about a marriage under strain and a husband nearly being seduced to divorce his wife for another woman, and I pause at the moment of his greatest temptation to present statistics as to why divorce is harmful to families and children, I've done the same thing that the left does, but with my ethic. In my own writing, I would call this brain surgery with a cudgel. Yeah, in filmmaking, we used to have a term that was common back in the 80s and 90s. It was when somebody would do like a circular shot. There's a family sitting around a dinner table, and the camera just goes round and round and round the table. It's all done in one take. And it's like, look, Ma, I'm directing. And look, Ma, I'm directing is the same thing as look, Ma, I'm writing. It's just stop. It's just stop. I call this brain surgery with a cudgel. Yeah, it works, but it's crude and it's almost always ridiculous. Yeah, and often fatal. How do you find the balance between making a story's message clear enough to stick, to be noticed, and potentially integrated into real life without wielding that message like a cudgel upside the head? Thanks for that great question. I've said this before. It bears saying again, especially since we have some new people here. The entertainment business is the most left-wing business in the country, but entertainment is inherently conservative. Entertainment is storytelling, and storytelling is conservative. What is going on here? My God, man! Just somebody eating a pizza behind me. Jeez. Actually, it's like something coming from the. There's some eczema problems, and would you just? Thank you. Good Lord. Um, uh, let's see, where do I want to go with this? Storytelling has to be about individuals. You can't. All good stories are about individuals, and so the answer is just have people do the right thing. They don't have to mention politics. We are about doing the right thing. We're about doing things that work. If you have a guy who is tempted to divorce his wife and then doesn't, you don't have to say anything. He doesn't have to be a Republican. You don't have to add anything. If he doesn't, then it's a conservative movie, and that's the ending people want. Great example of that is one of my favorite movies ever, 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 and that is The Greatest Showman. I mean, The Greatest Showman is terrific, and on that particular point, the example that you used in your question, they ran that perfectly. So in The Greatest Showman, this guy really loves his wife, but he is seduced by the glamour of this woman who's a singer, and he runs away with her for a while to go on tour, and she is pulling him away from his family, and he is succumbing to the temptation, but he doesn't actually sleep with her. They get that close, you know, to making it a physical relationship, that close, and she really wants to, and he really wants to, but he says no, and then he has to go back and try to make up with his wife. But the reason that was so perfectly balanced was he's certainly done enough for her to leave him, but he hasn't broken the marriage promise. He hasn't broken it. He did not cheat on her with this woman. He did. He certainly gave her grounds for divorce, but he didn't cheat on her. And if he had cheated on her, it wouldn't have worked. The whole movie is very whimsical and lighthearted, and not lighthearted so much as just larger than life. But that balance in The Greatest Showman was the temptation, and being led by temptation, and all of the damage that it caused his relationship, and all of that. But he didn't cross the line, and at the moment of truth, he does the right thing, and then he's got a song called "From Now On," which is just an incredible tune. "From Now On" is just about a guy who's realized that he's come within a hair's breadth of ruining the best thing that ever happened to his life, and from now on, he's going to make amends, and he's going to go in there and do the right thing. And it's probably my third favorite song, I guess, in the second or third favorite song in there. And it's a powerful song, and it's about redemption. Just thinking of Hugh Jackman just got me thinking about Les Miserables. I think Les Miserables is the greatest. I think Les Miserables is the greatest piece of entertainment ever written. I've seen it on Broadway twice. The music is phenomenal. The story's unbelievable, and I've never been taken on an emotional journey the way that Les Miserables does it. And that is a conservative movie because it's about redemption. It's about a guy. If Les Miserables was a progressive movie, he would have started out by stealing the silverware in a church, and then he would have just kept stealing, and he just would have used people, and he wouldn't have and he wouldn't have wanted to trade places with this young boy who's going off to get shot at, and he wouldn't have done any of those things. Now the movie, that particular movie, is badly injured by oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm a little rusty. I've been through a bit today. Um, Come on. I can remember the character's name. I can't remember the actor's name. His face right in front of me. The guy who played Chabert. Uh, Chabert was played by. Oh, come on. It'll show up in 10 seconds. It'll show up in 3 seconds. Russell Crowe, thank you very much. I don't know why I couldn't get his name. Russell Crowe's a great actor, and Russell Crowe would have been a great choice for this. Just that Russell Crowe can't sing, unfortunately. He can't sing the way that Hugh Jackman can sing, and and you could just tell. I mean, it just hurt the movie. It hurt every time. You need him to be strong, and he certainly had the physical presence for it and the physical intimidation of it. He just didn't have. He just didn't have the voice. But the film is terrific, and the music is just out of this world. Um, Sneedchuck over there says in on YouTube says, I desperately need the newsroom to be brought back into a series. I need the original writers to reconstruct their perspective between 2016 and 2020 and 2020 to 24. The mental gymnastics. I didn't see the newsroom, I'm sorry to say, so I don't think I can help you with that one. But thank you so much for the super chat there. Um, and uh, and but the music is so powerful, and it's just I've said this before. It bears mentioning again. You know, I saw it twice. Second time I saw it with my wife, who I had only known face to face for, I don't know, 8 hours by the time we went to see in New York on Broadway. Um, and and we were walking out of the theater out onto the street, and I thought, oh, back into the real world. And I remember thinking, just like a lightning bolt, like, no, no, the real world is back in the theater. We're going back out to our sleepwalking lives where people don't say what's on their mind, and they don't express their love for each other, and they don't um, own all of the grief and all of the sadness and all of the joy and stuff. The real world is back in the theater. We're walking out of the real world. Never had that thought before, but it's true. And so this is the power of entertainment. It's hyper reality, and it reaches us on a level that wakes us up. It's a strange kind of thing. It goes directly from our eyes into our subconscious. We lower our disbelief, the willing suspension of disbelief. So even in a case as simple as Les Mis, we all agree that we're watching, something that happened in Paris in the mid 1800s. We know we're not really there, but we allow ourselves to be transported there, and and all of that emotion goes directly past our cortex into our limbic system, into our emotional system, and it just overwhelms us, just blows the circuitry out. By the way, the innkeeper and his wife are so important to that movie, to that show. Without the comic relief of those two, it'd be too much, you know. And Keeper of the Inn is just it's just such a perfectly written melody. It's so bouncy, and at the same time it's not trite. It's got a almost like an operatic sound to it, but it's bloody marvelous. And I just can't say enough about it. Roadrunner here, the super chat says, "Boy, these white letters on orange, man, I just don't know what to do about that." Bill, were you able to see the? God, this is contract. There's no contrast here. Were you able to fix the lighting problem on Story Mechanics set? Any idea when we'll be shooting the first episode? Inquiring minds want to know. Thanks. Yeah, it's not a lighting problem. It's a camera problem. It's a webcam problem. This particular webcam is constantly like, watch, like, see how it gets darker and lighter when I put my glasses on and off because it's reflecting more light back. I bought a very expensive, well, for a webcam that was completely manual, and I just hate the quality of the image. I just hate it. I've got a wall that's far away, so I need a long lens. And webcams don't have long lenses. They've got wide lenses, and you can push on them. You can do a digital push, but it's not the same thing as really changing the focal length. So I do have a Blackmagic 4K camera that I used to use for the firewalls and stuff, and I might try bringing that out because I need a long lens, and it's just very hard for me to get into position and get the background the way I want it. But as Natasha points out, it's like, Bill, you're always waiting for things to be perfect, and they're never going to be perfect. Just people don't give a damn about that. Just, we spend so much time with the cutouts and getting the posters and positioning it. Maybe I'll do next week's show from that set. So we'll see. I can adjust the brightness of this, but when I adjust the brightness, it still is doing, look at that. It's hard it's very, very difficult to control. And I guess I just had such a clear, what I wanted this set to be, I wanted it to be night gallery, I wanted it to be like a dark space with little pools of light and little things in those pools of light. I wanted night gallery. Yeah, I should try that. Roadrunner says it'd be a great dry run. I think maybe I should give that a whirl and see if I couldn't pull that off next time. Steve says white balance, dynamic range settings. The problem is that the lens is this big. There's no getting around that. Blackmagic camera I've got in the back's got a lens that big, and this webcam and the other webcam, the actual lens is not a whole lot bigger than a head of a pin. Yeah, Steve Young says, don't worry about the picture, says the professional photographer. But she knows as well as I do that we can play around with it forever, try to get it perfect, or at least, the way you had it in your mind. And in the end, nobody really cares, honestly. It's really just, nobody just really, that's not what they're tuning in for. So we'll see. That, I think, is the end of the questions. And this is a very short show by our standards. It's not even an hour yet. But I was thinking about just kind of canning the show. I didn't want to do that. And I think, if you don't mind, I'm going to call this one early just because eyes are starting to hurt a little bit. It doesn't really hurt. It just, what it feels like? Right now my eyes feel like I've been swimming feels like I've been swimming in a pool with too much chlorine in it. Anybody ever had that experience? Most of you probably have. Somebody said the volume's a little low. The preamp volume was too high. That's where the clipping was. We got that solved last time. It was the preamp was clipping. So I can turn the volume up a little bit on the software, I think, without really, driving it to, it's not even getting into the yellows. So I don't know. It sure would be nice to have a engineer doing these shows, especially when I'm going to be doing celebrities, and I don't want to have to be worrying about, oh my God, did the recording stop, or whatever. But these are high class problems, and we'll figure a way to get through this. Starship launch tomorrow. Yes. We're talking about streaming it live. There's some talk about the three of us streaming it live, but I don't think Steve can make it. I don't know whether I can or not. I'll try. Watch the Facebook space. I've got a radio interview at 2:30 Although, wait a minute, that's 2:30 Pacific, so the launch time is it 4 o'clock Eastern? Is that the launch window starts 4:30 Eastern? Because if that's the case, the launch 4 Central. Boy, that's going to be right in the middle of the interview. Doggone it. We scheduled this interview before because it was originally supposed to launch today. I just want to see the booster catch again. But you know what? I've seen the booster catch, and if I don't get to watch it live, I'll either watch it after the fact. I'll watch them catch it, or it'll blow up, or it'll fly into the pad, or who knows. I'm just glad they got it on the first try. That to me was just really, really cool. So I think the next step for Starship, this will be test 6, so we've had 5 test flights already, and the clearing the pad was a big deal, and hot staging and all the rest of it. Re-entry, so incremental, but clearly the only thing that's really happened in the Starship test program, it was knock your eyes out, was catching the booster. And I think that the next thing that will have that kind of significance will be when they catch the booster, and then also catch the Starship on the same flight at the launch site. I think that'd be wild. Oh, goodness, sorry. Looking for 25 and 25. And a daylight landing for the upper stage. But it's a water landing, right, Dave? They're going to put this thing down in the ocean again? Incrementally removing tiles to see if they can put catch hardware on the sides. 25 launches and 25 Starship launches in 2025? No, surely not. But then again, it'd have to be Starship launches, right? No. That guy doesn't mess around, man. He just doesn't mess around. 25 launches every 2 weeks. Yeah, Falcon is launching over 100 a year. I just step outside to watch a Vandenberg launch. All I have to do is just step outside the studio here or step outside my house. I've probably seen 8 of them. And he's not messing around, man. Yeah, and Dave Big Booty says Elon is bestest buds with the incoming president. He can do whatever the hell he wants. Trump and Elon are starting to be like, it's not like they're getting to be pals. They're going to the fights together. It's like a bromance here. So I get the feeling that the next NASA administrator and the next FAA administrator is going to be on board. Marisha says, yeah, 25 launches a year versus NASA, who has a launch every 25 years. Precisely. I'm done with NASA. I'm sorry. Nobody. I take a knee to nobody in my admiration and love for that agency at its prime. But, it is not what that old gray mare. She ain't what she used to be. And let's get going. He wants to send starships to Mars in 26 and land humans in 28. Every 2 years it takes, for the planets to line up. So if he lands a starship on Mars in 26 and puts humans on Mars in 28, I will live to see it. Well, I have the possibility of living to see it anyway. Any bets on SLS being canceled? And Elon reveals he's already been working on putting Orion on a Falcon Heavy. why even have Orion? When you need, if you need SpaceX for the Artemis program, why are you slowing them down by having an Artemis program? Just give it to him, you know, give it to him. SLS it's a catastrophe, and it's a waste of money. Ditch SLS, ditch that piece of crap Orion capsule, ditch the piece of crap Starliner, and take a tenth of the money that you were spending on these programs and use it as a prize so that there's competition from the bottom up for SpaceX. You know? Get some American companies competing with, like somebody like Anduril or something like that. Just find these little startups and give them a little bit of cash money and get them going. Because Artemis, SLS, and Starliner are 20th century programs that are being run by a government that is incapable of doing anything. So goodbye, good night, and so long. Dave Reels Area 51 says, yeah, Boeing should focus on learning how to make airplanes again. Yeah, exactly. Make airplanes fly again. Exactly right. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up. So, sorry, I feel genuinely guilty about doing a short show like this, but we just crossed the 1 hour point on the recording, so at least I could face myself there with that. So, we'll see. All right, this show is made possible by the members of BillWhittle.com, to whom we are eternally grateful as always, and we'll be looking to get some new members in the not too distant future here. I gotta get that website. It's just so much. Just handing it off to I need a maintenance company, not a website designer. I need a website maintenance company that's interacting with Stripe and Recurly and constantly testing. I want you guys once a week to twice a week to sign up for new memberships, make sure that the money transfer goes through, and then cancel the membership, make sure the cancellation's working, and boom, just test it. I want it tested all the time. I want it working. And I've been waiting for that, so I'll have to get on that first thing in the morning, but at least I'll get a chance to go home early and get some sleep, so give my eyes a little rest. All right, well, thanks for joining us. We'll say goodnight to our friends over on, we'll say goodnight to Twitch first, I guess. Thanks, Twitch. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you Thursday for the Stratosphere Studio, and hopefully we'll have another hot mic out by then. I don't think this series on a counter-revolution of competence are going to do great. It may just be the thumbnails are not up to snuff, but the first one's done about 8,000 views, which is not bad. The bottom line, though, is even though if it's only 8,000 views each, if I do another 7 of them, 6 of them, that's, it's just helping the algorithm. So we'll see. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us over on Twitch, and we will see you on Thursday. Okay, YouTube, thanks again. Thanks for joining us. It's good to see all of the people there, and welcome to our new members and new viewers, and thanks for all the kind words, and we'll see you guys on Thursday night for the Stratosphere Lounge.